Okay, for this next tutorial what we're going to do is start looking at the stand. So this is a series of sketches and extrudes, a little bit simpler than what we've actually had to do to get this to this point, but we really need to focus on the accuracy of what we're doing. We'll also experiment with a few different ways of doing the same things. So we're going to sketch on this surface first. Select the surface, select sketch, and our stand is essentially going to be an acrylic stand. So it's going to be 3mm rectangles essentially. If I look at it from the left, so it's square on, it's much easier to sketch on. I don't want anything snapping in there because that's going to give me constraints that later on are going to get in the way. So when you draw your rectangle, draw it so that it's not creating any orange or dotted lines, and then when you dimension you'll be able to dimension much more freely. So the width of this is 14 and the height is going to be 220. Okay. We're going to make it central, so the distance from this to here, the original square was 20, our stand is 14, so that's a 6 difference, divided either side gives us 3. Okay, so that side is going to automatically be 3. The distance above that I want it, I don't want it that far above, I just want it 5mm above this line, and that's just a design decision. So that's where you could adapt it and make it your own essentially. Okay. At this stage I'm going to put the holes in as well and limit the number of processes I'm actually having to do after I've already done the extrude. So we're going to go for a 6mm circle here that lines up with the hole nicely, and we know that that is going to be 15mm from the top. At the bottom I haven't got an original circle to go from, so I'm going to draw the circle in and then dimension it to get it in the same place. So we know the diameter is 6, the distance, just start that dimension again, the distance from the centre to the edge is going to be half to get it in the middle. It was 14, which gives us 7 as the half, and then we know it's 15 from the bottom. So that's positioned the same as at the top. I'm happy with that sketch now, so I'm going to extrude it as a new part. I've got to make sure I have new part selected, and if I'm looking, it's really extruding quite a thick piece to start with, so I've got to adjust that to 3. And as you can see, I selected the shape at the bottom and it's automatically cut it off where it's intersecting the line, so I need to tell it that I actually want these 2 bits as well. The way around that would be to not select the faces and select the sketch from the left hand pane, and remember to click new again, it's just defaulted back to add. I'm going to click tick and I'm happy with my new part, and you can see that the hole lines up quite nicely and there should be a hole for me at the bottom as well. Brilliant. On here now I'm going to round the edges, so I'm just going to use the fillet tool to round, that's the wrong one, to round the edges just 5mm. There's not many more steps after this for the first couple of stands, so this will be a nice short and sharp tutorial. 5mm is automated, so tick. So I've got my first stand done. I'm now going to mirror that to create the second, the one on the other side. This part was created symmetrically about this work plane, which is really going to benefit us now. So I'm going to select the mirror tool up here, and it's asking me to mirror a part, which is perfect because I want to mirror part 4, which was the stand I've just created, and the mirror plane is this right hand work plane here. So you can see it's mirroring it across to the other side of the attachment bar or the stand mount. Okay, and I'm going to make sure it's a new part still, so you can see the 2 parts are created here, and click tick. Holes are going straight through, they're exactly the same. If you update the first one, the second one will automatically change as well. So that is that created. The last part I'm going to do on this tutorial is creating the nut and bolt to attach the top. You then essentially repeat this for the bottom part, but instead of doing 2 you do 1 in the centre going down to the base, and I'll do that in the next tutorial video, but that will be very straightforward. So to start this bolt, we want it to start in line with this face, so I'm going to sketch on that work plane and view it from the left. I'm going to draw my circle in, matching the diameter again, which is 6mm, and I've already locked it to the centre, so it has to be in the correct position. finish the sketch, and then I'm going to extrude that part. So extrude in sketch 10, I want it to come level with this surface. So I'm going to flip it, making sure it's new selection, and it should be 16 thick, I'm hoping, and that lines up nicely. We want it poking out 4 so it can actually attach onto a nut. So we're going to add 4 onto our 16, which pokes out perfectly. We'll add the head on as the next part now. So that's, I'm happy with that. I'm now going to sketch onto this surface a new circle, and I'm going to make that as big as I can get it, because these bits in reality would be tightened by hand, so we want them nice and easy to tighten. So I'm going to make that, did I mention that again? Sorry, it just went a bit mad. I'm going to make that 14, so it's the maximum width of that and it's not poking over the sides. And then I'm going to extrude it. When I extrude, I'm not going to select the surface, I'm going to select the sketch so it does the whole circle, and I'm just going to make that mirror the other side so it's 4mm out. It's not a new part, I want to add it, and the merge scope is with part 6, which is the start of the bolt. So that bolt is going through, and we'll just quickly create the nut to go on this side. So sketch, I'm going to start it on this face. I'm going to draw the circle from the centre out. I'm going to make it again as large as I can, so I'm going to make that 14, and I'm happy with that. I haven't drawn the centre one, and you'll see why. So I extrude, and I'm going to click, instead of clicking sketch 12, which would be the whole circle like we did before, we're going to click on the actual face of it, and it automatically knows you want a hole in, and we just want that coming out 4. And this time it is a new part because that's the nut. So you can see we've actually attached all of that stand to the bar now, so we're quite happy. Good luck.